what up everybody, it's Anime Junkie and welcome to part 10 to What If Deku Was a Villain. And now, let's get to the intro.
I'm not the one you wanna fuck with. Late nights messing up my sleep, so I'm flustered. Taking out aggression with my pen because I trust it. Writing, trying to get myself a lamb color cuss for the game. Leave him hanging by his chain. Click bang, feeling rage, feeling fire in my brain, feel insane, and it's slowly feeling flames. Feeling fire to my brain, bringing more face. No glory.
Okay guys, I have no idea where to take this story anymore. I think the only time this story would ever end is when All Might dies and whoever All Might gives his successor or gives One for All to, and that's exactly when the story would end. And I think I would add a little more stuff to it, like conquering other world, or not other worlds, what am I saying, other countries, but I don't really think I'll do that because it's not necessary, and we don't really have a good situation or idea about other countries in My Hero Academia. The only thing other than Japan we have ever seen in My Hero Academia is the Island thing. So that is the only thing that we've ever seen international level in My Hero Academia. So last time we left off, the jail, or the entire jail building, or the prison, was just taken away by the villains, or the army of villains, and the battle was happening. All Might and Gran Torino just arrived, and other pro heroes like Mount Lady, all the top 10 heroes like Bunny Girl. That's a spoiler for season 4. I'm not really sure if the Bunny hero would actually arrive in season 4, but if she does, well, she's here. So All Might would start fighting villains left and right, and you would basically see a lot of villains that he previously took care of, and they're like, whoa, these guys, I remember that guy, I remember that one, and I took that one out and that one. And he just remembers all these fights with these villains, and now they're back all together, teaming up together and fighting back. So after the fight, All Might and Gran Torino and all the top 10 heroes, let's say half of the top 10 heroes were already taken down. So there's only 4 top 10 heroes excluding All Might. And All Might's also going to be there, but he's basically going to transform back into his Small Might form, and every single villain over there would see him and start laughing at him. He's like, ha! Look at this weakling! And they would go to attack All Might, and Gran Torino would step in, other heroes would step in, and then they're like, okay, All Might's down, and he's turned into his Small Might form, so we need to get out of here, take All Might out of here, and we need to just get out of there. And the city that the prison was in is completely taken over by villains. Every single person's there. I think the city would be evacuated, but some civilians would stay, and the civilians are basically being taken as hostage. So the civilians would be near the border. I would say that because border of the city, or the border of the cities combined together that make up the villain territory in Japan. So let's say half of Japan is already taken over by villains, and in the border separating the villain territory by the hero territory, where it's safe, and it still has like 10% of villain activity. Actually 0% of, maybe even 1% of villain activity, because all the villains that have ever existed and want to become villains, they just cross the territory and cross the border of the hero territory and go into the villain territory to become like villains, and trained villains learn how to use their quirks. It's basically, in the hero territory, there is My Hero Academia, or not My Hero Academia, it is UA and all the hero schools. And the villain side, there are all villain schools. So in that side, it's gonna be My Villain Academy, or My Villain Academia. So yeah, I just wanted to do that. Maybe it's gonna be AU instead of UA, counteracting each other, and each different top school that are in like west, east, south, and what other one is it? East. Did I say east already? North. So all the other schools in the hero territory, there is also going to be like opposite schools that are rivaling each other as the villain territory. So instead of UA, it's going to be AU on the villain side, and villains are going to be trained how to kill, how to do that, all that stuff. And all the top ranked villains, like the top ranked villain gangs that basically are in charge of different areas in the villain society, they're gonna be Deku, because he's One for All and he has that quirk ability. There's gonna be the leader of the entire Yakuza, because remember, in Japan there are different Yakuza gangs, and Overhaul was one of the Yakuza gangs underneath the entire Yakuza organization. So the entire Yakuza organization's leader, who's going to be like the top boss or the boss of the boss, is going to be also one of the top 4 villains in the villain territory. And there are other 2 villains over there, and they're going to be really strong too. And Deku would just brainwash them. He would make different types of personalities, because I think he would have a quirk to create different bodies from his flesh. So I think he would like create different clones, and they're completely hollow, they don't have any mindset inside of them, and then take his personality and just put them in those clones, and those clones would basically take the place of the leaders of the Yakuza gang and the different villain organizations that are in the top 4 villain organizations. So they would be killed. They would be replaced by these 4 clones of Deku that have been using a transformation quirk to transform into different other people, and they will be able to use their quirk because he would steal them before he kills them and give it to the clones. So they follow every single move that Deku does or any single command that he gives them. And now Deku is completely in control of the entire villain organization. He just has to say it and make every single clone that he has made agree with him, and the entire villains are going to be following his plans. So the villains would start recognizing that Deku's team and his entire villain organization are the best, because every single mission they've actually gone to defeating the heroes has come back successful. They've won and they've done great success for the villain territory, and the other villains won't really do that much, and they will fail a lot of times because Deku would tell them to fail this time and that time to make him look better. So the entire villain organization will look up to Deku, and then they would do like this vote thing to make Deku the leader of the entire villain organization. So instead of being 4 commanders, there's only going to be 1 in charge of the entire villain territory. And then the final day comes, the first war separating North Japan from South Japan, or the hero territory in Japan and the villain territory in Japan. So the war would come, the civilians will be escorted or rescued out of there. Then villains will basically start attacking heroes randomly, civilians killing them, mass murder would happen. Then All Might would step in, his time limit has gone up to mere 13 minutes, not 13 but 30 minutes, and he can only stay in one fight, he can't like take on an entire army. So he needs to go to Deku straight away, and he's already given it to someone else. I think he would give it to Todoroki. Do you know why I would give it to Todoroki? Because in these times, we need the strongest person who has the best capabilities and the best potential to become the greatest in the world. So Todoroki already has the potential of becoming the #1 and beating One for All with his Ice and Fire quirk. And if he did have the strongest quirk on Earth, which is not really the strongest quirk because All for One is the strongest quirk, but if he really did have that power, on top of that, he would not only boost his the #1 potential quirk, but it'll also make him stronger physically in different aspects. So long range, it's already done, it's all good. He has defense with his ice, attacking long range abilities with his ice and fire. He would also have physical abilities like speed and strength, reaction abilities from One for All. So Todoroki would be chosen for this One for All quirk, and he would give it to him before going to the final battle. All Might would eventually die because he would take a lift from like a helicopter or a plane or something, and he's still in his All Might form or Small Might form. And then when he jumps off, when he's halfway towards the ground, when he jumps off of the helicopter, then when he's halfway down, he would turn into his All Might form or big form or bulky form and start charging at Deku. Deku would do like reflecting or shock absorption and then reflecting the force back at All Might, completely knocking him out and killing him, because remember, he has created better quirks and stolen other quirks and making more of them. And I think All Might would have died. This was like had to happen, because not only would he end up dying in 30 minutes, he would turn back into Small Might form, and then the villains could rush him and easily kill him. So he knew that he was going to die, but he wanted to make a difference by taking down the leader of the villain territory, but he still couldn't do that. and he ended up dying by one attack from Deku. And he already knew that, that's why he gave it to Todoroki when he basically started battling. And let's say Deku would have the chance to take Aizawa's quirk when he was in the My Hero Academia attack or the Forest training camp, because he knows this is going to be the last time he's going to be with the heroes or UA, and All Might's probably gonna fight All For One pretty soon. So he would take Aizawa's quirk, and Aizawa would be like, wait, what? Oh, and this is after All For One gives Deku his quirk. So he gets it, he goes to Aizawa, his homeroom teacher, to explain that he wants to quit UA, and he would give his reason, and then he would take Aizawa's quirk, and then he would tell him, I'm the next successor of that villain who fought All Might. And he would try to use his quirk to attack Deku, but it wouldn't work. He's like, wait, what happened to my quirk? He's like, I stole it. And then he would immediately kill Aizawa, and he would have that eraser quirk. And this is when his hunt will basically go for Todoroki, because before All Might died, Deku used a mind reading or memory reading quirk to read All Might's mind and his memories, all of this, and he realized that Todoroki, or young Todoroki, no, he wouldn't really say young Todoroki, that's All Might, but he would say, oh, so Todoroki has one for all. That was a good choice, All Might, but you forgot the last person to see Aizawa was me before he died, so you should have guessed that I already took his quirk. So by using his quirk, it would be a piece of cake to kill anyone. Even you, All Might. And then he would kill All Might. He would basically say to everyone that young Todoroki or Shoto Todoroki, and let's say Endeavor's already dead, because Endeavor was a threat and he already has his Hell Flame power. So he'd say, Shoto Todoroki, if you see this kid or this young hero, kill him on the spot. And he doesn't really care about One For All. If it just dies, it doesn't matter, because I think he would know from All Might's memories that there are people still living inside of the quirk, and their powers are also inside of it. So he's like, it's better to not have that quirk around, because it might end up going to a different person who has a heroic background, and I probably can't even take it. And I know some of you guys don't want me to do that, but I don't really care. And the story's about to end anyways. I think this is the last part, and Todoroki would get found and would be ganged up on and ended up being killed. One For All would basically go away and forever, and maybe it will return in the future. Who knows if One For All can do that, like the Avatar spirit, but whatever. But yeah, the story ends here. The world's in a dark place. More than half of Japan is already being taken over by the villain, and as soon as the full Japan is being taken over, then they'll be taking over the world. An entire country against different countries that have heroes, and they're like, we have a long way to go, because this was just the beginning. We need to start to take over the world and corrupt it. But that is the story of a later day when this stuff does happen in One For All, or we do get introduced to different countries in My Hero Academia, and maybe in the future we might have a world tournament like the World Sports Festival. Like, there are different countries, top schools fighting in this one tournament, and we get to see different countries, top heroes, future top heroes, and yeah, so I just predict that might happen in the future. But yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure to like, because it really does help the channel, and subscribe to join the family, hit the bell icon for my future videos, and as always, Anime Junkie out.